24 hours a day. You have to make it happen in the 24 hours a day. Yes, I think it's very nice. My kids, the 4 oldest kids are quite, I would say, big now today, so they're quite independent. My last little boy is 2 years old, so it keeps me busy and connected with the today's and previous generation. It's very helpful.
Now, you have been the CEO of Eterna and Corum for about a year now, which has seen its ups and downs, I guess. How are you settling into this new role?
So I was very happy and very, I would say, motivated to join the company to take care about 2 very different brands with 2 different stories, but with a very strong team inside of the 2 brands, which I could really manage and coach to bring to the success.
It's all about teamwork at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Now, both companies, Eterna and Corum, they have very different price ranges.
Yeah.
Corum is more high-end, while Eterna is a little bit more mid-range prices.
Absolutely right.
How do you develop a strategy from here, given these 2 very different brands?
So I would say, first of all, the first strategy I have to implement is to break even for both companies, which is not the case today. So it's a big financial mission first, because to assure the future, you need to have a certain security in terms of finance for your company. So company is born to make profit. So we have to come back to this good time for both of the brands.
This is kind of a double burden because both brands have been in such financial difficulties.
Yes. It's okay. The economic situation, the watch business has came into very good times and less good in the past, I'd say, 20 years. And we have to face the reality of today's world with the young being different as the one used to purchase watches 10 years ago or even 15 years ago. We have to be close to today's reality with distribution, with products, with price, with all the elements of the marketing mix. And we have to take care about everything in this spirit with 2 different DNA in 2 different brands, because Corum and Eterna are so much different that we have better not to mix any of the strategy we will use for both of them.
And how optimistic are you that you're going to be able to bring these companies into black numbers? I mean, last summer you mentioned that growth is going to happen. You're very optimistic about that. But what is your specific strategy there?
I believe Corum is really on the right way. We have already 9% better gross margin as previous year at the same time. We have less turnover, but much better rentability level. We manage the OPEX. I would say we are on the right way, and we got a very good feedback from our partners in the world following Basel well. So I think the products policy is matching the request of the people. So for this particular brand, we think we are really on the right track to reach what we want to reach, the break-even.
Now, Corum, for example, was founded in 1955 in the Swiss watchmaking town of La Chaux-de-Fonds. And you're also launching now to modernize the company an e-commerce website.
Yes.
How exactly are you planning to tap into the online retail segment?
I think for us it's today and tomorrow, of course, reality, the e-commerce. We have to do with this because today you want to purchase your watch perhaps at 10 p.m. after a nice dinner and you're at home, and it's the way you want to take time to discuss, to exchange, and to make up your mind about one watch. So you have to get this comfort for your client. That's very, very important. You cannot only go through e-commerce. It has to live very well together with the traditional retail network. So you have to develop something which can be developed in a very good intelligence for both actors. But you have to think much more regarding the final consumer. The person beside your brand would like to purchase your watch because he's in love with the watch or he's in love with the history of your brand or the fact that you are very different. And you have to be able to communicate it as good as possible. And e-commerce allows you to do this as well as, I would say, shopping at the Bahnhofstrasse. But you have to do both because the shop at the Bahnhofstrasse, they close at 6:30 and they are not open on Sunday. And they're not open during the night.
Now, what makes your brand different from others? Because in Switzerland, you have so many competitors, from Swatch to, Vacherin, Constantin, and Cartier, and everything here in the market.
We believe we have always, thanks to the founder of the company, being very different in the watch business environment. Our collections are very different. The Golden Bridge is quite unique. You would wear a Golden Bridge. I could recognize it from my position very easily. Admiral with the flags is the same stories.
And you're actually wearing two different brands at the same time. So
Yes.
one is Corum and one is Eterna.
One is Eterna,
of
one is
which you are
Corum.
both the CEOs.
Yeah.
But still, the company has the reputation of being a little bit old-fashioned with the Heritage Collection, with the Golden Bridge, and also the Admiral Legend 47. How are you planning to lure more the Generation Y and millennials, the younger shoppers?
I think the millennials, we have been playing a lot with Bubble. Bubble is one of the iconic collection, which allows very strong partnership with artists, street artists or sporter. And we reach really a younger customer. And today, I think the customer purchasing Corum is quite young, around 30s. And they like the fact that we are different. It's a watch for leaders, not followers, because it's not the first watch, or it's the only watch if you want, because it's very different from everything that you can see on the market today. Golden Bridge is very unique, and we can play more and more because we have a lot of space around the movements on which we can play with the diamonds, with a different way of setting diamonds.
You've mentioned brand ambassadors. You have, for example, Matt Barnes, the Canadian photographer.
Yeah.
You also have the French hip-hop artist Booba, or Elisabetta Fantone, the painter. How is this helping to establish yourself as a brand and maybe to reinvent yourself after these financial troubles?
Is to show that we are very eclectic. We are a brand for different kind of tastes, and our motto is craft your dreams. We like people who go beside the dream. They realize their dreams and they have the courage and the knowledge to go deep and deeper just to realize themselves. And it's the link we would like to show that we have with our customers. We want customers who go far in their dreams because we believe it makes different people. And we are a different brand. We produce very little number of watches. We don't want to produce much more, so it's around 10,000, between 7,000 and 10,000. The production of Corum should remain in this kind of target because it's where we find our legitimacy.
The story of Corum has not always been a dream, as we mentioned, but rather a nightmare in the last couple of years. Like until 2014, the company has lost between 10 to 20 million Swiss francs annually. What were some of the biggest problems?
I think it was to think or to believe we are bigger than we are. It means starting to operate subsidiaries in Russia, in India, in Japan, in United States.
Too fast, too soon.
Too far, too much integration. Then you go to retail. And we are not a watch brand to go for retail. It's too costly. It's too costly. And we are at the high end of the watchmaking. So it means to build a boutique is, you can just analyze some figures, just the renting of a shop, then you need to make your shop being alive. So we wanted to integrate too much from the manufacturer side to the distribution side. And we have just to remain a strong brand, and then we have to work with strong partners, but not integration of every step of the distribution channel, too costly.
The problems really started in 2000, right? In the year 2000, when the former CEO Severin Wunderman wants to tap also more into fashion watches and had a collection of some 2,000 different models. I mean, that's huge. So what is your focus now going forward when it comes to new watches and new models at Corum?
You touched the right point. We want less is more for us today. We still need to show that we have higher creativity in our team, because this is the DNA of the brand. But we have to think, with the weapons we have, not to think too big and to go with less partners in terms of retail, less references in terms of identity, because it makes it too complicated to understand for outside.
Let's talk about prices as well. The average price of a Corum watch still costs about 3,900 Swiss francs. Are you planning to cut down prices, or what is your outlook?
I think Bubble is about 3,500. Admiral is around this price range until 15,000 for the core range. Golden Bridge is starting around 30,000 plus. Heritage is around 20,000. So we want to keep this price segment to make sure that we are giving to our clients the best value for their money. But we are not going to enter with entry prices. We are not ready to make high volume of watches because our production is not ready for this, and it's not it's not the aim of Corum.
Corum has built its reputation around sailing watches. How difficult is it now for you to break away from this reputation, or are you planning to keep this sailing watch reputation and image?
No, we like the clients who is a sailor because we like the yacht club atmosphere. We even signed a partnership with amphibie boats called Iguana Yachts, which is a very crazy engineer concept to have a boat like coming out from a James Bond film. And that's to show to everybody we're not only connected with sailing, but with the world of the maritime, of the sea, but not especially and only sailing, no. And the Golden Bridge is more like haute horlogerie.
Now, are you a sailor as well? I heard before from our conversation before the interview that you're a tennis player and sailor.
I used to be a sailor, yes, as a kid, but I stopped when I was around 50. My dad used to be a fanatic of sailing, so we were always sailing when we were young during vacation. But I stopped because 5 kids, heavy task in terms of business. I don't have so much time in front of me. But
is this actually going to be a consumer base as well? Do you see that more people in Switzerland and around the world are actually starting to sail? That this could, generate some more growth?
I would say more is people who have a passion. And when you are selling, you have a passion, you are close to the nature. This kind of value we like very much, and we believe as well when you are on a sailing boat, you need to have a team working, and every person in the team has to know what is going to do, because if not, it can be dangerous. So it's about those kind of values that I would like to emphasize on, rather than just targeting the sailing's boat environments. We feel that people want something different. They like the personality, strong personality in terms of products as well as in terms of persons when you are talking with them. But on the other side, of course, in terms of cash flow, it's a big, big issue. And now we are on a growing process with Corum. You have to finance the issue of the past, plus you have to finance the growth. Make it very difficult for us to deal with, because we are rather small. And
well, some help came from China. Corum was acquired by the Chinese conglomerate City Champ Watch and Jewelry in 2013, 5 years ago. What kind of control is City Champ exerting on your management?
So it's like I report to a board composite with people from the City Champ group. They want to define the financial strategy for sure, and they want to be just aware about how we see the brand going into the future.
So how much are they involved in your day-to-day business and daily operations?
It depends. Sometimes very much involved, sometimes much less. But we work in a good intelligence, we work in a close cooperation. And my goal is to sell my strategy for the long term. And on the meantime, I have to reassure them that we are using the money to reach the break-even, because it makes sense, it's their money. So it's on the two aspects that I have to work. It's quite a sensitive subject, because sometimes long-term vision is not exactly what you need for short-term solving issues. But we have a good understanding. And
what was the primary goal of City Champ to acquire Corum? Was it maybe the Swiss brand and the Swiss-made image?
I think Mr. Hunt, the owner of the group, has always been in love with the brand Corum, especially with the Golden Bridge, one of the products for collection. And Eterna as well, from his childhood, he always looked at Eterna with a very special eye. And I think, this watch business are very small into City Champ. It's just passion more than economical reasons, because they are investing in many other industries which are much more profitable. But there is passion beside this. And there, what they asked me when I joined the company, please bring again value to the brands. It's not bring turnover or bring value to the brand. And I like this approach, because it's as well matching my way of doing business.
And one of your goals is to break even with Corum as well. How do you think that the Chinese people and the market there, which is growing so exponentially, helping you in that strategy? How can this Chinese owner help you to sell your watches in Asia?
Yes, first of all, they have a very strong financial background. So the day I stop the blooding of the two companies, they will feel much more reassured. This is a normal process. First, stop the blooding. And then a lot of power to go further. And of course, today, Asia is one of the biggest part of the turnover. We are above 65% of our turnover. We are very strong in Hong Kong, Macau, 5 boutiques, Corum Macau. And Singapore, Malaysia is picking up very, very good since this year. It was a bit more difficult before. We came back now in Japan. After many years of being quite dead in Japan, we start back to come back in Japan. So yes, they help us because first of all, you get trust. And at the time Corum was for sale or Eterna was for sale, nobody else brought the money. And beside those two brands, the group invested many millions.
And how is it to work with a Chinese boss, being based in China? Do you have cultural issues as well that you encounter?
Yes, cultural issues, but I think it's more like, for me, it's more facing a city champ philosophy and culture. It happens that they are Chinese, but it's not that much because they are Chinese. It's more because it's a big group where it's starting from scratch, build an empire. So we have to get in touch we have to be sensitive to this kind of culture. More important than the fact that they're Chinese. Of course, then there are cultural Chinese difference, like they have to understand how we think and what is working in China is not working perhaps in Europe.
I've worked in Beijing for state broadcaster CCTV for 5 years. So the culture is definitely very different, more of a top to bottom approach as well with the leadership and the Communist Party there. But has the corporate culture changed at Corum as well?
No, I would say, and I think they want us to keep because they purchase the Swissness of Corum as well. They would love, and I would love too, that the Swiss became as well more efficient as we have. In Asia, people are very efficient, so we have to...
you have to step it up as well and work even harder, probably.
Yeah.
Do you feel that there is competition as well, like for your employees, that because the Chinese are working so hard and so much, and they only have 1 week of holidays per year, that your staff is under pressure as well?
The staff is under pressure because it's not because of this. It's more they want to succeed. They have been, for many of those, they have been working for many years for Corum. They would love Corum to come back at the level it should be. So they are very motivated by this. And this is more the pressure they put themselves beside the project rather than the fact that we are in competition with China. It's two different. CityChamp, they have two watch brands in China. One is called Ebord, the other one is called Rossini. Very big. Rossini is 1.6 million watches a year. It's another world. It's a city inside of the city. I visited in Zhuhai, the company. Impressive, the organization, the efficiency. But they know as well that it cannot be compared with a 10,000 production watch with high-end, being active on the global world, where Rossini is acting in some places in Asia, mostly in China. So it's another way. But of course, we have to learn to take the big advantage points of this kind of organization and to sell our difference and the fact that we need to be global.
Where are you producing and manufacturing the watches at the moment? Is it here in Switzerland or are you planning to manufacture them in China going forward to cut prices?
No. This Swiss made is for us very important and not only for us, for CityChamp. So that's for sure. We keep and we stick to Swiss made. We are not a completely integrated manufacturer at all because we work a lot with suppliers. And this is as well the aim of Corum is creativity. We have to bring the products that we believe might reach a nice success on the market, but we don't want to integrate every métier from watchmaking. Neither we want to integrate all the métier of distribution. It's the same. We are in the middle to create a brand which is seducing.
There is a lot of xenophobia in Switzerland and in the West in general about the Chinese are coming, especially after the Syngenta and ChemChina deal, as well as others, H&A and Gate Group, etc. What do you think about that?
I think it's partly right. They have always a bad image as copying or not having the same understanding of the intellectual property. But I love to use the example of Volvo. I like cars. Volvo is a beautiful car under Chinese management and ownership. Today, the collection of Volvo looks like very much a European brand, looks very elegant, and I think this is the best example that we have to understand that they learn very quickly, and it's normal that at the beginning when you start to acquire in a different culture a few brands, you have to adapt from on both sides. But I think CityChamp has made a lot of experience in the past, and I think on this particular point we have not too much issues, but still, of course, you will say.
There have been other cases of takeovers in the luxury goods and retail sector, for example, Frederic Constant, Alpina by Citizen, etc. Do you see this trend continue, that more Chinese and Asian jewelry groups will buy European ones?
I think yes, because it's difficult for independent brands to survive when you fight against on the market against big groups with other financial background or the way to open doors with distribution or with the press, and so it could be very seducing for a lot of brands of groups to try to purchase more. But on the other way, as well, you have a big room opening for independent with a very targeted products at the right price, at the right size, because you know in the 90s everybody wanted to produce more and more. That was very dangerous for many brands. So I think there is room for both, but then you have to be more focused on the final consumer and not only dreaming about a nice watch brand to produce.
And there, China will help definitely for sure as well, because the Chinese people are more looking for custom-made watches now as gifts, despite the crackdown on corruption. I mean, your price segment is probably the right one, but still, Corum sales have slumped between the years 2008 and 2010. Are you hopeful that the acquisition by, CityChamp will help you boost sales in that part of the world?
But you know as well, we used to have in Macau a lot of money from the corruption, and that was the clients, most of the clients of luxury. But today they are replaced by the young who make success with a startup, and it's another customer coming back. They spend a bit less, but it's their own, success that they want to reward.
So do you see most growth and purchasing power actually coming from the young startups and entrepreneurs in China that buy
very
your
strong,
watches?
Very, very strong. And so it influences as well our product policy. We need to be able to talk to those people. Perhaps the father, they went first to Patek Philippe or very established brands. Today, you can come to a Golden Bridge with a very special movements, bespoke product.
So how engaged are you on Chinese social media, for example, WeChat and Weibo? Are you, establishing a very specific strategy?
Yet we will open. The first thing we will do for China will be to open a one-shop mono boutique in Shanghai or Beijing. That's the first goal, because we are very weak in Midland China. We have only 8 points of sale. But we know that the people purchasing in Macau or Hong Kong come from Midland China mostly. So, and we know as well that we have to treat our brand with a certain rarity in China, because it brings more value outside. But of course, we need to do a little bit of. So the first step will be to open our first, and we are on a good way, first shop in Beijing or Shanghai.
Good luck with that. Now, Jérôme, you have a long experience in emerging markets. You've worked in Turkey and Russia as well. Does this mean that your distribution markets will be focused on emerging markets like Russia, Brazil, Turkey, and China that we mentioned?
Yes, we need to at least to take care about the very important consumer there are. Because in Russia, we have now a new distributor. We closed the subsidiary. We have a strong actor in Russia. But we need to have business being done in Russia, but as well to work and to educate the Russians, which are traveling all over the world, to our brand. So it's very important to us. The same for Brazil. Brazil market is very difficult to work, but the Brazilians are traveling all over the world and they need to know about it. So it's more focused on people, because in those emerging markets, a lot of money is being made by a few people, of course. But those people has to be well educated into our products.